Hey guys, welcome back to another build spec video, if that's what you want to call it, Guild Wars 2. This time around we're going to do an Elementalist. I know there's a lot of them out there. Most of the specs are pretty common, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw out what I use, how I play. It may be like others, may be different than others. Like I've expressed in other videos, I am by no means a professional. I play to have fun. With it, we'll go ahead and start. I guess I'll dig right into my weapons and the runes and whatnot. So, of course, it's a DD spec, so double dagger. My main hand, my #1 dagger, gain 3 stacks of might. Just nice for that added damage, adds into your attack, your power. I actually have not sat down and figured out exactly how much extra attack or power that comes out to, but from the reading and understanding it, it's a fair amount, so most people seem to recommend it. I go with the Signet of Superior Bloodlust. There are a variety of different signals people will use. I like this one just because as I kill foes, it adds to my power. And if I remember right, don't quote me on this, I thought I heard someone say in the past that instead of getting 10 points, it equals out to 50. For some reason, I'm not sure if that's correct or not, so don't quote me, just something I heard, so I'll throw it out there. But in the end, I still like having that, even if it's 10 per kill, that's an extra 250 in the end, because it stacks up to 25, so it's still nice to have. Again, it works if you're able to live long enough and get them points up. So I tend to be able to, not always, but usually I'm okay with it. And with my sigs, my runes, I just use the divinity runes, all 6. It's straight up an extra 60 to all stats and an extra 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12% crit damage, not crit chance, but damage. So I don't have a high amount of crit, but you'll see how it works out as I explain that. So, and for my amulet, I use a soldier's amulet, power, toughness, and vitality. It's a good defensive. It gives me my power I need, the toughness, and the vitality to live through the poundings that I will endure, being I'm a clothy in melee range most of the time. And as you can see, I'm sitting with just a little over 20k for health. Not too bad. My toughness is just under 1600. Again, not too bad. The combination allows me to live through things such as the wonderful thieves that are out there right now that can two-shot people pretty good. Warriors with their 100 blade, I can usually last through them. I do try to get out, but it doesn't always happen. But this setup allows me to at least take the beating. So on to, I guess I'll go ahead and go into my the utility skills. I use for my healing Signet of Restoration. Every cast, whether I'm actually fighting someone or not, as long as I'm in combat, will grant me a heal. Every cast is 243, and then, you know, additional depending on boons and whatnot. Lightning flash, teleport, you will see why I use it, but kind of give you an idea. It works well with Earth number 5, churning Earth. In the videos following here, I'll try to make sure I have a little bit of that footage in there so you can kind of see, but basically you have the ability to start churning Earth. It is a cast spell, so you start it out of range of a group of people, and just before it goes off, you hit lightning flash and port to the location you want to be, and it will go off. It will not cancel churning earth, so it's really powerful. Does a very nice bleed, a cripple. It just overall, it's a very nice AoE. It's kind of the bread and butter of your earth skills. Cleansing fire, a nice condition removal. A lot of builds nowadays are using some sort of conditions. Rangers, of course, that's kind of what most of them seem to be running, is that trap condition spec. You got other elementals, you've got the mesmers. I mean, just a variety of conditions, and some of them can do a lot of damage. The necros, they're constantly stacking bleeds. This will remove them. It will break you out of stun, and it will burn the foe. Excuse me. Keep in mind, all three that I actually use here are stun breakers, so you can get out of stuns with any of them. And then my third one, I use Armor of Earth, or I will swap it out for Mist Form at times. Depends on the situation, depends on the group I'm in. As I've explained in my older videos, I do usually SPVP. I don't do a whole lot of tournaments. I've begun kind of getting big in the world PvP. I finally found a good guild that I'm able to do it with on a regular basis, so I've started doing that. But this is more or less for the SPVP. Reading up and the little bit I've done in World v World, this spec, this build does work with it as well. It works just as good here. Actually, it works a little bit better because the healing nerf isn't in World v World, and I'll try to remember to go through that on the trades part. And then my elite, I go ahead and use my Glyph of Elements. What's nice about it, if you read the description, this is a little bit better than the minor because it allows your elements to have something extra with them. Your fire elemental does damage, of course. Your ice elemental does damage and heals. So if you pop that out, it'll damage your foes on top of giving you a heal. Your air deals damage and does stun, so it's nice to get the thieves and then warriors, because it will stun them. And then your earth elemental, it can take a beating. You pop them up, it's a good distraction. A lot of times people will see an elemental and they'll try to down them. Not sure why. I suppose they're worried about the damage, so they'll try to down them, and the earth elemental works wonderful because it takes a lot to take them out. Excuse me. Alright, now onto the traits. It's a pretty standard setup. Most people, I believe, run with this with a little bit of variation. This is after the recent patch where they fixed Evasive Arcania, so this is the spec I've been running. I was actually running it before the patch, and like I said, I'm a little bit newer, so I did not realize that was broken at that point. Not completely, but it was broken to a degree. But now that it's fixed and back in, it seems to be pretty viable from my understanding. But my traits are 0, 10, 0, 30, 30, as you can see. Pretty standard. You got your 5 points for the when you're in air attunement for your 10% speed, and then of course Zephyr's Boon, Fury and Swiftness when you attunement swap. Really nice. You can almost always have, so you can have a permanent Swiftness and permanent Fury, and that Fury gives you an additional 20% to your crit, which, as I said earlier, if you notice, my crit chance is only 14%, but if I aura swap here, you can see 34% it jumps up to. And as I'm swapping attunements, which you do a lot when you're fighting, it sits up there. You can see my attack, it does jump a little bit, but the biggest thing is that's an extra 20% on my crit. So that's why I don't have runes and whatnot that are heavily into crit. 34% is a fairly decent amount. This build is kind of the survivability with a steady amount of damage with some burst. Some burst is nice, but it's so much movement, so much havoc that people are like, wow. Alright, so my 30 points here. Soothing Mist regenerates health while attuned to water. Cleansing Wave, remove a condition from you and your allies when attuning to water. Very nice for them conditions again, and it's also nice to help out your teammates. excuse me, Healing Ripple. This is what I was talking about earlier. I did get that nerf beforehand, and it's just basically the healing amount was dropped down. Exactly how much I can't tell you. I don't know. I'm sure with some digging I could find out, but me being a lazy ass I am, I ain't gonna dig. It works. Soothing Disruption. Cantrips grant you regeneration and vigor, which are all three of these utility skills. If you notice, they're all cantrips. So every time you use one, you are getting a regeneration and a vigor boon. Very, very, very nice. Almost a must-have for this type of build. Bountiful Power deals 2% more damage for each boon you have on you. So as you notice, the attunement swapping, the weapon, runes or sigils, all that adds up, and it's an extra 2% for each boon. So if I've got a stack of 5 boons, that's an extra 10% damage that I'm dishing out. Very nice. Can be a small amount or a very big amount. And in Cleansing Water, remove a condition when granting regeneration to yourself or an ally. The way you play with the bouncing around, you got regeneration up a lot. On top of it, all three of these again will remove conditions. So there's just a shit ton of condition removal in this build. Very, very nice. A lot of utility to it. In the Arcania Fury, grant yourself Fury for 2 seconds on attunement. Again, even more crit chance. Elemental Attunement, I think that's pretty common. Everybody's going to take it. When you attune, you get a boon, and it also shares it with people within the area. I'm not sure what the range is, like 240 maybe, 300, something like that, but don't quote me, not professional. Attunement bonuses linger for 5 seconds. What that does is basically, right now you see I'm in fire. If I swap to water, I got my water attunement, but my fire attunement lingers on for just an additional 5 seconds. So I get the buff from both sides. Renewing Stamina. You have 33% to gain Vigor on critical hits. Now once again, my crit isn't massively high, but it is enough where I actually do get decent amount of crits. And that Vigor is nice to have because you use a lot of dodging. You're constantly moving, and that synergizes well with the last Vase of Arcania. It gives you the chance while you're popping in and out of different attunements to be able to do the dodges you need to do. Of course, number 25 skills have a chance to apply condition on critical hits. Once again, not a massive amount of crit, but still enough where that's actually doing its job. And of course, I just went through EA. Keep in mind, EA only works every 10 seconds for each attunement. So if you're in fire and you dodge, you have to wait 10 seconds before, while in fire, to get that flame burst again. Now if you are in fire, you dodge, jump into water, and then dodge, you will get the flame burst plus the cleansing wave because they're 2 different attunements, so they do work, but you can't use the same attunement dodge, I guess you would say, within 10 seconds. Usually in most fights you're flopping around. Myself, I use all 4 attunements and a shit ton of abilities, so it works fairly nice. I try to picture it out, if that makes sense, on when to use each attunement so I know when the dodge is going to be best. An example is I'll try to wait to use my my earth dodge, as I'll call it, until I see per se like a ring of fire there, because that will give ring of fire is a combo field, and it will use a projectile, burning projectile from my dodge off my earth, because I'm in the fire combo field. Hopefully that made sense. And you know, your combo fields, it works the same way with the other abilities as well. So and with that, I'm not sure what else I really need to go over. Just kind of wanted to go over the build, kind of throw out there, because I've started playing this one. I like to play the different classes, try them all out, see what I like. The Ranger, I enjoyed for a while. The Mesmer, I did enjoy. but after you do the same thing over and over and it's kind of slow, it gets boring. This class, I found there's lots of movement. You do not get bored because you're constantly on the move. You're constantly checking things out. You're constantly switching through different attunements. Different fights call for different abilities, and it isn't like I use the ranger, and forgive me rangers for saying this, but it isn't like just sitting there spamming crossfire and just getting your bleed stacked up. You have to know your fights. This build, this class can be really good or really shitty depending on if you can grasp how to do it. Myself, I'm still not up there, but I'm getting it as I play more and more. I'm learning, and same with you. As you play more and more, if you really like it, you will get it, and once you get it, it is a very dominating setup, class, profession, build, spec, however you want to go through it. It is very dominating, and it can do a shit ton of damage. So and with that, I just ask that you might like, subscribe to my channel. Lets me know that you guys are watching, want to see more videos. I'll keep posting as long as I got people who are watching. So I'm going to go ahead and throw up some video here for you guys. Hopefully you enjoy. Be sure to leave any comments down below if you got any questions, critiques, etc., etc. Peace.